Hi guys, this week I'm here to talk to you about the power of no and how we have got to learn to say no. So if you read my book, The Elegant Warrior, you know that chapter 20 is called Learning to Object. And I talk about how I learned to object in the courtroom, that I learned to do it by standing up and using my voice and stating my boundaries. But it took me some time to learn how to object outside the courtroom. And it took me some time to learn how to object without looking for permission or validation. And that is really what saying no is all about. It is learning to object. So this week on Monday on my podcast, I had Indrani Garadi, who told me about this fabulous book called The Power of a Positive No by William Ury. So this week on my podcast, today on Thursday, I'm talking a little bit about this book because I think it's an imperative read for anyone who needs to learn to set boundaries and say no. In this book, William Ury talks about the importance of seeing no differently. And I always say when you change your perspective, you change your life. If you can change the way that you see the word no, you can change everything. He talks about seeing no as a way of standing on your feet without stepping on someone else's toes. It's the idea that you can say no as a positive thing for yourself and your boundaries and the things that you need without being negative for someone else, and also ultimately making a choice that you and your boundaries and the things that you need must come first in order to serve those around you. He also makes a really important point that I have to state here, that sometimes people don't know your answer is no until you say it. He talks about people who train women in self-defense and how one of the most important things they train women to do is to yell and say no, because that sets the standard that this is not socially acceptable and that this is not something that is a maybe or a could be, but rather a complete and utter no full sentence. This book is a fabulous book if you want to go a little bit further on learning how to object. Saying no is saying yes to yourself, to the things that you need and want, to the things that your family needs and wants. So I hope for you in the coming weeks that you learn to say no a little bit more effectively. I hope that you listen to the podcast, both with Indrani on Monday and my little short one with a little bit more about this book today. And I hope you let me know what your struggles and what your challenges and what your victories are as you learn to say no, because learning to say no is one of the most important ways that you can advocate to win. Have a great weekend, and I'll be back next week.